If you've ever had a creepy uncle, he probably reminds you of him a little bit. I'm just kidding. I always like to roast him a little because he's been around for a long time and he's really funny. Tony. So the last time I was here, there was like some really smelly homeless guy dancing on the dance floor. He was like dry humping one of my friends. We went over to the owner and we're like, you know, can you kick him out? And they're like, no, he's one of you. We're not kicking him out. This place is like super equal opportunist. It was probably the first time he's ever heard a song like in 20 years that wasn't like Fortunate Son just playing on a loop in his head. Did you guys all have a good 4th of July?
Yeah.
Did any of you burn a Confederate flag? You know you gotta worry when like liberals start burning shit. That's when you know you gotta be a little scared. Usually it's like the fanatics and shit. But I'm from Bakersfield actually, which is like, yeah, you guys know, it's like the armpit of California. So they obviously do 4th of July like really big, right? Like when I was a kid, we would, someone would always dress up like Osama bin Laden and we just like beat the shit out of him to prove our patriotism. Or we try to like light my nearsighted cousin on fire. Or just like make the illegal fireworks more illegal by like turning them on their side and seeing how fast grandma could like get out of the way. Bakersfield is a funny place though. Their politics are about like Donald Trump. And you know, we would I'm a lot of good friends with a lot of people on Facebook, like my high school friends and like my family, and they post DUI checkpoints like they're the fucking Amber Alert. They just assume people are like scrolling through Facebook drunk in their cars. But you know, it was a funny place growing up. When I was in school, I'd have to cover my mouth when I'd smile, and the teachers would give me detention for showing off. Cover my teeth. My brother, we got into a fight when I was like 8 and he kicked me into the vagina and broke my hymen. So I literally lost my virginity to my brother. But in Bakersfield, that's just called fitting in. Like while other kids were learning to hold their breath in swim class, I was learning breathing exercises through the art of siphoning gas. It's pretty fucked. But like my mom is from Fresno and it's a little better because they have a Whole Foods. Have you guys ever noticed how Whole Foods has like an anti-discrimination force field for like 5-mile radius? Their tagline should be Whole Foods, where a biracial kid can be a biracial kid. I've never seen a biracial kid as happy as I have in like a Whole Foods, like skipping down the aisles with their vegan donut, white mother on one side, black father on the other, just totally feeling accepted. I once saw a checker fired on the spot for assuming that a trans woman's tampons were for her. They were like, she was like crying, saying like, they shouldn't assume that I was born a woman. That's pretty fucked. But so I was on this website the other day. It's called Turntable Kitchen. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of it, probably because you're all from San Francisco. But it's like, so you go on there and you can get a subscription to a record and a bag of coffee and you pay $50 a month. So if you're stupid enough for that fucking deal, that's one thing. What really got to me was the owner's bio of the website. He said, his bio was, lover of all things vinyl, pour over coffee, and pan frying pork chops. I mean, drinking coffee and eating pork chops should not qualify as a fucking, like, part of your biography. That's just called feeding yourself. You know, reading records for that matter, or, listening to records, that's just like listening to music. That if 99% of the population does something, I don't think that should qualify as your hobby. I mean, eating pork chops and drinking coffee is just like a survival instinct. And have you guys noticed how like alcoholism has just become like an accepted part of our society? Especially, you're all participating now. I like to blame corporate happy hours and internet memes around wine. I think that has a lot to do with it. You know, it's just like, I've had a really hard time working from home this week with my flexible schedule, so I think it's time for me to have a bottle of wine I know nothing about. People are like, I'm really into pairings, like I like to eat the white foods and I'll drink the yellow wine, but when I practice my art of pan frying pork chops, that's when I'll drink the purple wine. But I'm actually not really into drinking that much anymore, just because I'm tired of, like, you know, waking up after a night out with fully dressed with my shoes on, like my purse still on my shoulder. I know I've had too much. My girlfriend's here tonight, though. We've been together for about a year and a half. Yeah. So in girl talk, that means we've been together for 12 months. But that's saying a lot, actually, in San Francisco, because usually people are like, I'm polyamorous, or I'm saving myself for Burning Man, or I just really want to focus on hula hooping school right now. Like, we'll walk down the street like holding hands and people will be like, are you still together? And I'm like, really? Do you not know that we're together? Has Lena Dunham done nothing for our community? And it doesn't help that straight girls will have like half in their duels and make out with each other. And Orange is the New Black has done nothing for us either, because now all these straight girls want to be lesbian prisoners. And I'm like, it's not all it's actually cracked up to be. I mean, prison for obvious reasons, but being a lesbian, having sex with a girl is a lot of work. You guys know, especially the men. Like afterwards, you have like carpal tunnel and rug burn up to your eyebrows. But anyway, San Francisco's a funny place too. I feel like a lot of people are traveling abroad just to make themselves feel better about living in, you know, such an expensive